So whatever you haven't finished, you need to finish that. Those of you that didn't submit your answers yesterday, you're going to get a 0 for yesterday. I don't know what you were doing in class that you didn't submit. Everybody that didn't submit was in class yesterday. You need to do some work. Okay. So when I give you an assignment, make sure you do that work. So the first one that you have, and remember the first two that we have is all calculator active. So me and Ms. Burkhart went and kind of pieced some things together. Again, all calculator active. When you get one like this that has an equal mark, figure it out. When you get one like this that has an equal mark, use Desmos. Use Desmos. Okay, and I'm going to show you how easy it is. So if you miss this problem, you're probably going to kick yourself in the butt for this. So I'm going to stop sharing and go to Desmos for you. Whenever I find it, what did I do with it? All right. So we're going to type in exactly what we see. Remember, Desmos only uses X's. It won't use anything else. I want everybody doing this with me. So go to Desmos. If you don't do it, it won't work. You won't remember it. Okay. So type in what you see. 2 parentheses X plus 8. Close your parenthesis minus 4X. Equals 10X plus 4. And I'm actually going to show you 2 ways to do this. So you guys see, once you plug it in, it draws a line for you. That line is, that's your answer. That's it. That's all you got to do. So your calculator active part is going to be fairly easy. So what is my answer? What is that coordinate? And if you can't see it, all we need to see X, because that's what we're solving for. You have it on your screen. If you can't see it up here, you should have. What's the number?
1.
So I'm going to write it down and then I'll switch over. So you should have X equals 1. That's it. Anything hard about that? No. Let me show you a different way too, just in case. Sometimes this will and sometimes it won't work. If it won't work like that, or you have a decimal that you can't read, because sometimes you'll get decimals and those are hard to read on here. You're going to do Y equals the first side and then Y equals the second side. So 1 on the left, 1 on the right. And it should cross. Let me minimize this so I can see all my controls. You can see it crosses up here. Where does it cross at? We're only looking for the X. It's at 114. We don't care about the 14. We only care about the X because what are we solving for? X. So your answer either way is going to be 1. Okay. The reason I showed you this, remember to get back to a regular screen, you just hit the home button and it takes you right back to normal. Okay. Your calculator is not that easy to work with. Desmos is. So very good. Any questions on number 1? Nothing hard, right? Okay. This exam is not as hard as you're going to make it out to be. All right. So let's look at, I'm going to skip through, just give me a minute. Look at number 10. So number 10 looks like this, and I'm going to come back to other ones. We may not finish this whole packet today. I'm not going to teach the entire hour and a half. I'm not going to do that to you guys. But I am going to teach 45 minutes to an hour. Okay. All right. So we have 2 functions on this one, and it says just tell the points at which the graphs intersect. So that means where they cross. That's what we just did. We just have 2 different ones. So we're going to go back to our Desmos. And one of them is Y equals, do this with me, 3x squared plus 14x minus 5. Which part?
The 2.
All right. So when you go back here, after you type in the x, you go shift and 6. You can do shift 6. If you're not sure, just like he was trying to tell you.
Yeah, I click on the board.
It's okay. You can do that. Is everybody good?
Yeah. What number are you putting on top of it?
The 2. And then make sure you move over to get out from under power plus 14x minus 5. We're going to do the same thing, y equals, and the other one is 11x plus 13. Now remember, I showed you how to do all this by hand, right? We solved these by hand. We don't need to do that anymore. Okay, we're trying to take the test now. Does everybody understand that? All right. So then you see a green line and a red line, and they should cross somewhere. Do I see where they cross? No. So let me zoom out. So I'm gonna hit the minus. I still don't see it. I'm gonna hit minus again. There's one of them. So I'm gonna drag it down there, and it says -3, -20. Do I have one of those on my paper? Look at your answers. Yes, circle that one. And then I need to find the other one, but I don't want to make it too skinny. So I'm going to move my my screen around and try to find where it crosses here. And where is this intersection? 235. So that's your 2 answers, and that's all you get. Okay. So if I go back, those are my 2. The other ones do not work. Is everybody good? Did you work really hard on these? See how easy this exam can be. Okay, we've already got 2 questions down and we didn't do any work. All right, let me keep looking. Look at this one. Remember I told you anytime you have equal marks, right? Use Desmos. Use Desmos. So we're going to go back to our Desmos. And I'm going to just keep it y equals because it makes it a little bit easier to look at. The first one is 4x squared minus 52x. Plus 169, and this is number 12. Number 12. And the other one is 121. Now remember, we're not going to see 121 because it's really far up at the top of the screen. So there's 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s. I got to get to the 121s. There we go. So what's your first intersection? And we're solving for x, so we don't even look at the y. So what's your first one? 1, right? This coordinate, and you may not be able to see it up here, but you should be doing it with me on your screen. When you put it up there, it's 1, 121. We don't care about the y. So I'm going to write down a 1, and I'm going to take you back real fast to this. This one says -1. We know it's not -1. This one says -1. Now the question is, if I look at my calculator again, here's my other coordinate. What is it? +12, right? So if I go back here, this is the only one, yep, with +12. And again, we're only looking at x. Any questions? All right. Let's see if I have another equal to on here. Look at 15. $15 is the same exact way. Listen, look at how many we've had to put in Desmos already. Guys, to get a really good score on your test, you really only need to get between 50 and 70% right. Right? 50 and 70 to get a really good score. Okay? Does everybody understand that? All right. So 3x plus 7 and 2x plus 12. I'm going to go back to my Desmos and I'm going to put that in. So I don't need this one. We can delete this out. 3x plus 7. And they love to give you these problems. Now, they'll give them to you on calculator inactive too. And we will work on those. We will work on this. Why can't I see anything? Yeah, I'm really far out, right? I was at 121. So I'm going to hit home and see if that helps me out. So now I at least see the 2 lines. I just got to figure out where they cross. Move it around. There it is. What is the value of x where the graphs cross? What do we get? What's the value of x? 5. 5 is all we need. So your answer for 15 is? That's okay. Don't worry about it. What you did yesterday is not important. What you do today is super important. That let me know how much work I needed to do with you, which was a lot. But now these are easy, right? So what I want you to do is if you finished part 2 and you see some like this, you go back and fix them. You got what I say before you open them up. All right, so use that Desmos. All right. Look at this one. This one is really easy. You guys see how this says g of x? Yes? This says g of 30. What did 30 take the place of? That's what it wants to do. Take the place of x right there. So again, I can use Desmos on this. It's a calculator as well, y'all. So you can put it in here just like you see it. 1960 plus 1.74. And then we're replacing x with 30. What do we get? That's it. That's your answer. Put it on your paper, 71.8. Anything hard about that? You just got to remember to plug it in. That's it. All right. We'll be back to that in a minute. All right. So let's go back to question 2. Question 2 you can do on Desmos, but you got to work it out first. You got to work it out first. Actually, you don't have to work it out. Desmos will work it out for you. So I'm going to type in the first one, 2x plus 2y equals 16. This is number 2. It's the first box. So let me show you what I'm looking at. It's this first box. I'm typing these 2 in. Does everybody see that? It's literally like I see them. Okay. Your next one is 4x plus 3y equals 27. If you look, I can see a little bit of blue down there. I need to go home. How many times do they cross? If you need to zoom out a little bit. How many times do they cross? Just one, right? So how many solutions do I have? 1. That's all you're doing. So if you look on this question, this one solution goes up here. You would drag it up there. So this one is 1 solution. Did you do any work for that? Nope. Don't have to do any work. Go back to Desmos. I'm going to put the second one in. So that middle column right there, I'm going to put in. So it says 2x plus 2y equals 8. And 4x plus 4y equals 16. Oh, what happened? Remember I told you you can turn this off and turn it back on? What happened? Oh, they're on top of each other. So how many times do they cross? Okay, hold that in your head. It's either a lot or none, okay? So let's look at this. Let's look at that third one just to make sure. So I'm gonna put the third one in and I want you to see the difference in that. So I'm gonna start with the third one, 2x plus 3y equals 12. The next one is 2x plus 3y equals 16. How many times do they cross? So how many solutions would they have? None. That's none. So the other one actually crosses at every single point because every single point touches. That's why it's infinitely many. Got it? So when we go back to our paper, this one doesn't cross at all. So there are no solutions. So this one has to be the other one, which is infinitely many, because they touch at every single point. Josh, I need you to pick your head up. William, wake him up.
William.
You need to wake up. Any questions on this? All right. So I'm gonna run back to Desmos for a minute. And I'm going to show you that I'm doing number three. Number three. What does perpendicular mean? What does perpendicular mean? If two lines are perpendicular.
No.
Parallel is don't cross. That's parallel. What about perpendicular?
So they cross.
How specifically do they cross? Like a X or like a T?
Oh, like a piece.
Like a T. These cross at 90 degrees. These cross at 90 degrees, okay? So parallel doesn't cross. Perpendicular does. All right, so we want it to cross at 90s, and we want it to go through -2, 3. So hold that in your head, -2, 3. Look at your paper. Desmos will do this for you. You do not have to do the work. The first equation is the one that they give you, 4x plus 3y equals 9. We want a line that's perpendicular to that. I just hit the home thing. So let's look. 3x, I'm going to put in letter A. 3x minus 4y equals -18. Do they cross? Yes. It says it passes through -2, 3. Does that line pass through -2, 3? If you're not sure, I think you can put the yep. Does it hit that line? Yeah. So it meets everything, right? Let's check the other ones just in case. So A might be our answer. Let's rule out anything else. So B says 3x plus 4y equals +18. They do cross, but does it go through that dot? No. So we know that B is not our answer just because it doesn't go through the dot. Why are these not perpendicular? They cross more X-shaped than they do T-shaped. Got it? Let's look at C. It is 3x minus 4y equals -6. So these kind of look perpendicular. They look like 90 degrees, but what's it not doing? It doesn't touch that dot. So C is not our answer either. So we can mark it out. So let's put in D. It is 3x plus 4y equals +6. Sorry, I got something extra in here. So it crosses and it goes through the dot, but what's wrong with this one? What's wrong with this one? They do cross. It's not a T. What is it? It's more of an X. You guys see how the difference is? So I'm going to throw the other one in just so you guys can see it. We have the right answer, 3x minus 4y equals -18. See the difference. The one crosses like a really tight X and the other one crosses like a big T. Got it? So again, here's the wrong one. There's the right one. So did you have to do any work? How many have we not had to do work on? A lot, right? Okay, remember that when you take your final exam. If you have Desmos, use it. Use it. Don't be lazy. It's just plugging it in. So your final answer for number 3 should be A. Okay. So this one was 90 degrees, where this one was X-shaped. Any questions? All right. All right, number 4. Number 4 is not very hard. You just got to read it, okay? A club began with 3 members, so this is your start. Each month, each member brought 1 new member. Which function can be used to determine the number of members X months after the club began? So which one can I pick? The first thing it says is starts with 3. So how many of them have that it starts at 3? Which ones do not have that? Be careful. We know it's not C because why? It doesn't even have a 3, does it? Doesn't even have a 3, does it? Well, Which one? Remember this. So if it's linear, it's y equals your slope times x plus your start, right? If it's exponential, it's going to be y equals your start times your multiplier to the x. So which one can I eliminate? Look, stop guessing. Stop guessing. We have a start on the end. Our start is 3. Or we have a start in front of the parentheses. Which one can I eliminate? Say it again. Why B? Right, it doesn't have the 3 in the end or in front of the parentheses. Is everybody good? Now the question is it linear or is it exponential? Is it linear or exponential? Okay, so let's think about it. One member brings another member. So how many members would be next? 2. Those members bring another member. So how many members would be next? 2 brings 2.
Oh, the 4.
4. 4 brings 4. Are we adding here or are we multiplying here? Multiplying. So which one multiplies? Your exponential D. Okay, we're not adding the same amount each time. We're multiplying. All right. Look at number 6. Remember what I just said? Linear is adding every time. Exponential is multiplying every time. Which one can be modeled by a linear function? Linear function, means adding every time. The amount of money Y in an account after X years earning 4% interest compounded annually. What is percent? Is that add or multiply? What? It's multiply. It is multiply. So any percent you're going to mark off. So you might want to write that. Which would be exponential. Okay. Do you see any other percents? D. So we can mark that one off because we know a percent is not going to be linear. So here's your question. Use a cell phone for X minutes at a rate of 4 cents per minute. Is that happening every single time? Is it consistent? Or 2/3 the previous height? It is B, 4 cents per minute. So this a percent and a fraction is going to be multiplied. Okay, so think about it. A fraction is what? Dividing, right? So it's going to be the same thing as multiply. All right. Any questions? Number 6. Sorry, trying to find the easy ones first. Let's look at this one. Sorry, this is number 11. What does perimeter mean? Add the sides, right? Add the sides. Or the outside, whatever you want to do to remember it, okay? Is everybody good with that part? All right, so let me tell you this, or let me ask you this. If I give you a triangle, and I give you the sides are 3 and 4, but that the perimeter is 12, how would I find that third side? I would subtract those sides. from the 12, right? It's the exact same thing that you're going to do right here. Okay, so I start with 8 x's. I'm going to subtract 1 and 3 x's. What's 8 minus 1? 7 minus 3 is 4x. Look at your answers real fast. It's not either one of those. Is everybody good? I had a -6. I'm going to subtract 1, and I'm going to subtract -1. Guys, this calculator active, you can put it in your calculator. -6 minus 1 minus -1. What did I get? A -6, right? So your answer is B. That is all you have to do. Is everybody good? All right. Look at this one. This one is really dark. I think it was easier on your turn in form. All right. So another thing with perpendicular, remember we said it was flip and change the slope. So don't forget that, flip and change the slope. So look at this equation right here. What is your slope in this equation? One is your slope and one is where it starts. Which one is your slope? Guys, we should know this. We've been doing this since the beginning of the year. -1/3. We're going to flip it over. And we're going to change the sign to positive. So your new slope should be a positive 3x. Everybody good? All right. So to finish out the rest of it, I'm going to show you this one by hand, but I can show you also in Desmos. You have to get at least one of these before you can put it into Desmos, because otherwise there's so many combinations that you can do. It's going to be ridiculous. Okay. So to do it by hand, we have y equals 3x plus b. B is what we're trying to find, this one. And you'll know what b is determined by whatever, or number 2 is determined whatever b is. Your coordinate is where your x and your y are going to come from. Your y is -10. 3 times 1 plus b. And like I said, I'll show you on Desmos, but let's do it by hand first so that you can believe me. We get -10 equals 3 times 1 is 3 plus b. To solve for b, subtract 3, and I get -13. These are all positive, so your negative is going to happen right here, -13. All right, so let me show you Desmos. We're going to put our first equation in. Y equals -1/3 x plus 5, just like we did on the last one. We have that coordinate 1, -10. I'm going to zoom out so you can see it down there. And then, like I said, if you can fill in the first box, you can get the rest of it. So y equals, we found out the first box was 3x by flipping and changing it. Flipping and changing it. You can start with your pluses and go down the list. +1. Does that even hit that red dot at the bottom? Nope. So the next one was a 5, +5. Does that hit the red button? No. The next one was 10. That doesn't touch it either. The next one was 13. Also did not touch it. So we can rule out plus. So now we know it has to be minus. Do you understand what I did or no? Okay, one more time. Let me go back and look. So I got this one by flip and change. So I know that one is right. So then I tried plus. None of my pluses with these worked. So I know it can't be plus. So I know it has to be minus in box 2. That makes sense? Now I just need to figure out which one puts me through that red dot. So when we go back through, I can change this to minus. And the first one was a 1, not through the red dot. The next one was a 5, not through the red dot. The next one was a 10, also not through the red dot. The last one was 13, and it puts me through the red dot. So you have to get one of the boxes, and then you can figure out the rest. Fairly simple on Desmos. Okay, I showed you by hand, but Desmos probably makes it a little bit easier for you to remember. Less mistakes as well. Any questions on 14? So we'll jump back to 14. We did 15. Look at 17. All right, this paper pencil copy, blah, blah, blah. It's online intent. So it just says click each one that works. So it means there could be multiple answers. So we want linear. What did we say linear was? Add. What is it not? Why?
If it has the little-
Has a percent, right? So it's not that one. What else?
B? Double?
Doubles, you are correct, because doubles means
What-
multiply, and we don't want multiply. You are absolutely correct. Great job. It's okay. It's okay. What do you think? Are all the rest adding?
Yeah.
They absolutely are. All the rest are adding. So this one says 150 for each mile. So 150 plus 150 plus 150. So this one is an answer. This one says an airplane flying at an altitude descends. That just means it goes down at a rate of 20 feet per minute. So 20 feet 1 minute, 20 feet the next, 20 feet the next. That's constant. You guys see how it's still 20 feet. And then the next one says a pizza restaurant charges $5.50 per pizza and 50 cents for each additional topping. So 50 cents for each additional topping, plus 50, plus 50, plus 50. That's constant, right? So all three of these would have been your answer. Okay, so remember, we don't want multiply and we don't want percent if we're talking about linear. All right, any questions on 17? All right, I'm gonna see if I can get this one on Desmos. I have to remember how to put it in. I think I have to put just like I see it on the paper. Yeah. That means just put the commas in. So see how I separated them with commas, so it'll draw them. Where did they go? I think I put a space in here. Did the first one, didn't it? Let's do them all separate. 3, 4. Thank you. All right. I'm gonna zoom in a little bit so we can see it a little bit better. This is a very easy question when you use Desmos. It said, what is the midpoint of the longest side? So if we look at this triangle, what 2 dots would make the longest side?
The red and-
The red and the blue, right? Everybody got that? The red and the blue. So we don't need the green dot. Is everybody good? What's midpoint mean? The middle, right? So I need this coordinate to be in the middle. So where'd my other coordinate go? Which one was it? 1, 4, 3, 6. Did I just turn? What is going on? There we go. Sorry, y'all. I don't know why I did that. I don't know if I clicked out or what. All right, so we want it in the middle. What is going on? Do you see 1, 1 on there? No, because it's way down there. You guys see where's that? Is that in the middle of those 2 dots? No. So we can mark that out. So now 2, 4. Is that in the middle of those 2 dots? No. 2, 5? Yes, that one looks really good. I'm going to check the last one just in case I typed something in wrong. Is that one in the middle?
Oh,
Close, but not really. So our answer is C. How hard are these problems? They're not. Does everybody see that? Hardest thing's putting it in Desmos and keeping it in there. All right, let's keep looking. Let me see if I can find some more. Look at number 5. 5, also you can use Desmos, but you have to set up the equation yourself. All right. So it says Karen has 2 dogs. Remember, we've set these up before, and we want to use like one dog is large, one dog is small. So we're going to use L and S. But in our Desmos, we have to use X and Y. So I'm going to show you exactly what I'm going to do. So how can I write the larger dog weighs 1.4 pounds more than the smaller? Use L for larger, S for smaller. How can I write that? 1.4 what? More than the smaller. So what would I do? Is it multiply? If I said that Adam weighed 1.4 pounds more than you, what would you do to figure out?
oh, like,
You would add it. You would add it. You're thinking backwards. You're just thinking backwards. More than is add. All right, look at the next one. The combined weight. What does combined mean? Add them together is 12.6. Now, here's what I would do. Because I'm going to put it into Desmos, I'm going to change my L's to X's and my S's to Y's. But the reason I write it up there like that is because I want to find the smaller dog. So I'm looking at the Y. Does everybody see that? I want to look at Y. So I'm going to go into Desmos, get all this mess out, and I'll put my equations in. I said X was L, 1.4 plus Y, and then I had X plus Y equals 12.6. I'm going to look where they cross, and I get 7 and 5.6. I'm going to write that down. Okay. We'll go back to my paper. Now, think logically. Even if I screwed up, which one is the smaller? It's got to be the 5.6. It's got to be. Obviously, the large dog is not going to weigh more. Does that make sense? So the big dog is 7 pounds. The small dog is 5.7. I mean, 5.6. Pretty simple, right? You just got to write the equation. All right, let's look some more. This one's pretty easy. Wow, this is an easy one. This is an easy one. During which interval did the tomato plant grow the fastest? Grow the fastest. All right, so let's look 4 to 6. How much did it grow? At 4, it was 1 inch. At 6, it was 2 inches. How much did it grow? 1 inch, right? Everybody got that? Okay, let's look at your next one. 6 to 8. It went from 2 inches to 4 inches. So how many inches did it grow? 2 inches. And then we're going to go 8 to 10. Went from 4 to 7. So how much is that? 3 inches. And then we had 10 to 12. 7 to 8 inches. How much did it grow? Just 1. Well, which interval did it grow the fastest? That's it. Mm-hmm. It's pretty easy, right? Not too bad. Y'all, this is a released version of your final exam. Is it as hard as you think it is? No. Is the calculator inactive part a little bit harder? Yes, only because you have to remember everything. This, if you'll use Desmos, will help you out a lot. These are just common sense problems, okay? Look at the next one. Let's look at number 9. This will use a combination of Desmos and your brain, okay? So it's just like the dog problem. We got to set it up and then we can use Desmos to solve it, but you got to set it up right. So it says the width of a rectangle. Immediately when I see that, I'm going to use my scrap paper because you're taking it online, and I'm going to draw a rectangle. It does not matter which one you choose as the length and the width. It doesn't matter. I always use the long sides as the length and the shorts as the width. So the width of a rectangle is 3/4 of the length. Does it tell us what the length is? Nope. So we just write it down like that. What's this side going to be? Mm-hmm. You guys good with that? It says the perimeter equals 420. So now you just set up your equation. How do you find perimeter? Add all the sides, right? So I'm going to add, if you don't like 3/4, what can I do? Instead of having a fraction. You can make it a decimal. You can do that in your calculator. Y'all, you don't have to look at fractions. I know fractions kind of freak y'all out sometimes. 3/4 is 0.75. Does everybody see that? So let's make it a little easier. 0.75 L plus L, I'm just going around, plus 0.75 L plus L gives me 420. Add them up. I'm going to solve this one by hand. You could put this into Desmos like I've showed you before. Anytime you have equals, you can put it into Desmos, okay? So I'm going to add all these up. I have 0.75. I have 1 L. I have 0.75, sorry, and I have 1 L, which gives me 3.5 L's. How would I solve for L, or if it was X, how would I solve? Divide by 3.5. What did I get? That's your answer, y'all. That's it. Now, if we go back, I'm going to show you Desmos and show you how to find it on Desmos so that you don't have to do it by hand. You do have to set it up, but then you can put it in. And guys, you can put the 3/4 in. 3/4 X plus X plus 3/4 X plus X. You can put in the 420, but it's not gonna show you anything. Remember, our number is really large. It's 120. So when I don't see it, what I would suggest you do is to put one side y equals and y equals 120. So I definitely see this one, but I need to get to 120. So I'm gonna zoom way out. 30, 60, 100. There's my number. Where does it cross at? There's your 120. Is everybody good? Any questions? Good? All right. Go back. How many more we got? Here's another one like that. David has a rectangle and a right triangle. Immediately, I'm going to draw that. This is number 13. Remember, a right triangle has a 90. It doesn't really matter. And then I'm going to follow all these bullet points. It says the length of the rectangle is 5 more than its width. How do I write 5 more than its width? We just talked about that dog was 1.4 more pounds. How do we do that? We added them, right? 5 more than is 5 plus the width. Okay. The length of the shorter leg of the triangle is equal to the rectangle's width. It does not matter which one you pick, just don't pick this diagonal, one of these two. The length is equal to the rectangle's width. We don't know what that is, so it's a W. The length of the longer leg of the triangle is twice the length of the rectangle. What's the length of the rectangle? What do we have for the length? Here was our width. What was our length? 5 plus W. But it says it's twice that. So what do I do? So what's 5 times 2? And what's W times 2? W times 2. Loud. 2 what? 2W. Got it? It says, which function represents the combined area of the rectangle and the triangle? Combined area. What's combined mean? Add them. How do you find the area of a rectangle? Mm-hmm. How do you find the area of a triangle? You have to know this. This will happen in math 1, 2, and 3. Area of a triangle. Did any of you have Mr. Troy last year? Did y'all have Mr. Troy? No, none of you? All right, so you didn't learn it this way. So you probably learned 1/2 base times height, or base times height over 2 is what Mr. Troy teaches. Base height over 2. You need to know this formula for your final exam, okay? All right, so for this one, our length was 5 plus W. Our width was W. We're going to multiply those together. It said combined, so we're going to add them. We're going to do 1/2. It does not matter which one you use as your base and your height, because when you multiply, it doesn't matter what order you put it in. So I'm going to do the W. And then I just rewrote it as 2W plus 10. You can have 10 plus 2W. I am way too lazy to multiply this out. Don't y'all feel like that? I'm way too lazy to multiply this out. So now that I know this, I'm going to take this and go back to Desmos. And I'm going to put it in. Y equals. I'm going to change it to X's and type it in just like I have it. Plus 1/2 parentheses X parenthesis 2X plus 10. Is everybody okay with that? I'm going to go home because it looks kind of crazy right now. Is everybody good with that one? Yeah? All right. So then I want to know which one's the same. If it's the same, remember I told you it'll mark over it. Okay. So I'm going to just put my answers in. Y equals. A is 2X to the second plus 10X. Oh, what happened? So what's my answer? A, has to be. Let me show you B just so you can see it. If it's not the right answer, it won't match over it. Does everybody see how at the bottom and at the top, you see the 2 different lines? If we put in C, X to the second plus 10X plus 25. It's not even close. Does everybody understand? So if it marks over it, you know that's the answer. So our answer has to be A. So the hardest part is remembering how to write the formula. You cannot miss it if there's a formula on Desmos unless you type it in wrong. You cannot. Got it? All right, let's see what else we got. I'm going to try to finish this up. Go back to number 19. This one is the exact same way. It says a rectangle. I see that, so I'm going to draw a rectangle. We're looking for area, so you know it's going to be length times width. Perimeter is 64. It says let X equal the width of the rectangle. Let Y equal the area of the rectangle. Which equation can be used to find the area of the rectangle? All right, so let me go back over this again. Tell me what you know about this rectangle. We know the perimeter is 12 that I drew. I know that the length is 2. What else do I know about that rectangle? The other length is 2. So on my big rectangle I drew, I know that this is X, right? Is everybody okay with that? You understand what I'm doing there? How would I figure out these two sides? And subtract them, but then I have to do what? Because there's 2 sides. So I would take that 12 and minus the 2 2's. So that's 12 minus 4. But there are 2 sides. So I'd have to divide by 2. Does everybody see that? Is everybody good? I have to do the same thing on this side. I have to take that 64 and I have to subtract my 2 x's and divide it all by 2. Divide it all by 2. Well, this is really easy because I'm a calculator. What's 64 divided by 2? If you can't do it in your head, what's 64 divided by 2? 32. What's 2 divided by 2?
No, 1.
1. So I just have 32 minus x. That's what one of the sides is. Is everybody okay with how I found the side? It's complicated, but if I put it like this, you know how to do it, right? So just use those same steps. And if you have to draw this on your scrap paper, use it. So now it says I need the area. How do we find the area? Yep, so we're going to do x times 32 minus x. I can use Desmos at this point, or I can just distribute because it's a little bit easier. What's x times 32? Is it 64x? No, we don't have a 64 in there, so it can't be these. So when I distribute that, it's 32x. What is x times x? X what? Squared. It's a minus. So which one has a minus x squared? Look at it one more time.
No, D.
D. It had to have a positive 32. That has to be D anyway. And then when I distribute, it's going to be a negative x squared. But again, you can put this into Desmos and then put all your answers in to see if they match on top of each other. Okay, same as the last one. I think we just have, okay, here's one. Number 8. I think we just have 2 left. This one and a grid, not a grid, but a table one. Anything tables, we're going to use our regular calculator for, okay? So that's why I said you needed it. It says the function a of n equals 3n minus 7 represents the value of the nth term in the sequence. What is the sum of the first and fifth terms? All this means is plug in 1 and plug in 5. And then it says, what is the sum of those? So here's what you're going to do. Plug in 1. What is 3 times 1? 3. And then I have to subtract 7. What do I get? What's on my calculator? -4. Then I'm going to plug in 5. What's 3 times 5? 15 minus 7 is? You guys have
8.
calculators? Yeah, 8. And it said it wants to know the sum. What is -4 plus 8? That's it. So anytime I'd ask you about sequences, plug it in. First term, plug in 1. Fifth term, plug in 5. All right, any questions on number 8? I really do think all we have is the grid left. This was good. Y'all have worked really hard today. I appreciate it. Just checking to make sure that's the only one. Yep. So number 18 is the last one.
Is this the same as this?
Hmm?
This,
I don't know.
is it the same as the other one?
No, they're not the same. The second one's not the same. What do you mean?
Like, they're the same, like, copies.
Kind of the same. Yep. Mhm. All right. So it says, what is the distance between the y-intercept of the function and the y-intercept of this? So the first thing that we need to do is find the y-intercept of the equation. If you look at this equation, where is the y-intercept? If you're not sure, what is a y-intercept? Where it crosses y, right? So I'm going to plug that in. Y equals 2x to the second, because I'm not real sure from the equation. I can't remember what Miss Jones told me because I kind of zone her out all the time. Where does it cross the y-axis? Where's it cross? 3. Does everybody see that? So if we're looking at our equation, it's this last number. Okay. The only one that's not the last number is exponential. It's the one in front of the parentheses. Okay. So now it says to do a linear function with this. Where do I always put my tables? How can I put a table into my calculator? Into stat. Yeah. So we're going to go to our calculator. If there's anything in there, we want to get that out. And we're going to put that into stat. So I got -5, 2, -5, -2, 2, 5. I checked all those. 15, 3, -13, -25. How do I get an equation? Stat, calc, and which equation are we looking for? What did it ask you?
Linear.
Linear. So which one is it?
It's 4.
4. Absolutely. Keep hitting enter. And which one is our y-intercept?
Oh,
-5.
-5 is our last number. So ax plus b is our last number. So -5 is our y-intercept. It says, what is the distance between the y-intercepts? We're talking about a number line. 0, 1, 2, 3, -1, -2, -3, -4, -5. How far is it from 3 to -5?
7,
A little bit more?
8.
8. From 5 to 0 is 5. 0 to 3 is 3. Add that up and we get 8. Everybody got it? Any questions on this packet? All right, so perfect. Glad we finished the packet. You're going to work on the packet number 2. You will put your answers in tomorrow. Remember, it's your Wednesday work, so you're getting ahead right now. So do the Wednesday work. Go back and use Desmos if you need to. Remember, you have Desmos on your Chromebooks, which you take home. So you should be able to do this packet. Everybody got it? The only thing you have to do for me tomorrow is put your answers in so I can give you your attendance if you finish your packet today. Got it? Otherwise, you finish your packet tomorrow and put your stuff in. Any questions? All right, Zoomers, I'm going to stop sharing, stop recording.